Hello and welcome back. 9 o'clock, Tuesday morning, sales video. Just got over the cusp of where there was enough for me to make a video. So that's what I'm doing. One thing that I do kind of want to talk about for a little bit is I got asked a question in regards to the international sales that I do or that I get. So if I remember correctly, all sellers are automatically opted into the international shipping program, whatever it's called now. There's a point that was maybe summer of last year where you could opt out. Aside of that, it's everybody is automatically opted in. It may be vice versa. It may be everybody is opted out and you have to opt in. Either way, there is a handful of benefits to the international shipping program. So, number one is as soon as the item is scanned at the hub, whichever hub it is. So, for me, it's Illinois. It used to be Kentucky, and before that, I want to say it went to Georgia or Alabama. Maybe it was Alabama. But for a handful of years, it was in Kentucky. But now it's in Illinois, Glendale. I want to say it's Glendale. I've seen the address plenty of times. 60112, whichever the zip code is. So as soon as it's scanned there, if anything happens to the item, if it's not delivered, if it's damaged or anything, it's automatically 100% covered by eBay. If the buyer never receives it, it's automatically covered by eBay. You may have to take an extra step or two to let eBay know, like, hey, this is international. It was scanned at your hub. They're like, all right, you're covered. There's that. Two, you have less restrictions on when the item has to be out. Now, you should still ship it within your time frame. I don't think it's technically in there that you don't have to ship out within your time frame within for the international program. However, if you have a sale on Monday and you ship it out Thursday or something, that's on you when you decide to want to ship out. There's no real, you're going to get dinged for an item not being scanned at the arrival hub. There probably still is some stipulation to that. Another kind of caveat is, so say that you usually ship everything ground advantage and you don't use media mail too often. But if you're shipping out a 4-pound book and it's going to be cheaper to ship media mail from where you're at to the hub, do that. Save yourself that buck or two or three or five. Because as soon as it gets to the hub, which is a little more headed east, halfway in the US than everywhere else, but that's still a huge mail hub. It's going to get to that hub within that time frame, and you're not dinged for something getting there a little later. And you're definitely not going to be dinged for being at whatever the destination is much later. The returns, eBay takes care of the returns. I believe for the most part, they usually just refund the buyer. I'm not 100% sure on how that works. So you are covered in a lot of aspects with the international shipping, and you don't have to do the paperwork. Before, you had like a little white printout like this that you'd have to get at the post office, and then eventually in the mandatory you just fill it out online, and then it just all prints. The only thing that still kind of has an odd label to it is APO, FPO, military base sales. And some of those can be a little tricky, and I think that is also an opt-in. I'm not sure on that one. I just click everything because if you're going to be protected with the tracking number, do it. The main question, however, was about me stating to the viewer that I use the off-site promoted. Now, to me, my understanding, the offsite promoted is primarily for the international. Is primarily for anything, honestly, except Google and Bing, Microsoft Bing, and Google. Any other search engine, any other anything else, anything, offsite promoted. That's what that's used for. So, in different countries, believe it or not, they have different search engines, and you pay eBay a per click. So let's just say in Austria, they have a search engine that's called Austria Vista. If you're old enough, you probably understand that reference, except for it wasn't called Austria. Right. So let's say it's called Austria Vista, which is not Bing and it's not Google. So someone goes on their search engine and they type in real flight RC. This is not going to Austria. Not that I know of. And they type this in and they see that there's no list or whichever, and they're just trying to get some information, and then they will see a little ad. There's eBay USA. Someone has this item. They click on that listing. They click on that result on their search engine, and then they go to your listing and they look at it. Now you're charged a penny or two or three or five or whichever it is for that person to actually click on that, because there's kind of a currency exchange, an exchange for that, and you're also putting yourself out across the globe. So a lot of the other things that I do sell are, and so eBay does have, it's just not ebay.com. .com is primarily United States based. Com stands for commercial, edu stands for educational, gov is government, .net is network, .org is organization, .state, which that's now all under gov. So each of those in the United States has different suffix. As for across the world, it's something different. It could be ebay.au, Australia or Austria, whichever that is, or ebay.eu or ebay. Whatever it is. So eBay is just not one website. It's a multitude. They run different websites. So for someone who's on a website that's ebay.australia and they want this, and ebay.australia does not have it, they're going to show listings that are going to be, the prices and stuff are going to be italicized, same way in how we see listings that are italicized. If you click worldwide, or most of the time it is default worldwide, and if you click that, someone in Australia will see this is in the United States, and they will click that, and they're like, oh, that's what I want. And then they have to pay their VATs and the shipping and so on and so forth. That's included in that. And VATs for a minimum, I think, is $12. I forget which country. Maybe it's $16. I think it's the cheapest to go to Canada, and it could vary up to $50. So if somebody really wants it, and then you have to think about the currency transfer and all that, but you're still getting paid the amount of what you have it in US dollars. All right, so that is it's either almost 10 minutes. So that's kind of a 10-minute explanation on that. Now, if you want to do off-site promoted, so that is where if someone in a different country is typing up your item on their search engine in that country, and if you want your item to be visible on a result on their internet over there, do off-site promoted. And to do that, you go to, maybe it's the fourth radio tab over. So radio tab is just one that you push, and then there's options. It's just because there's options, this is radio tab. Click the radio tab, go down to campaigns, and then from campaigns you go to the far right where it's start new, And then I believe the three options down there are the very last one is off site. And then you start off site and you make your different rules that you need in there if you want to off site everything, whatever it may be. And then click your daily allotted amount, which mine is $5. So over an entire month, it's $150, if not less. Some days you'll hit that max limit. Some months you'll hit your max limit a week before. Either way. And the ratio for what it costs is about $150 for anywhere from 800 to 1,000 in sales for international sales. Now, is every single one of those charges involved in the sales that are showing here? No, because that's just showing that that's the off-site sales. Now, could that person that just off-site? That's all that's showing. So, is there a benefit to it? Takes money to make money? Yeah. So for the little bit that it does cost 15%, maybe 20% of what it's going to cost, and not every item that sells that you're being charged an offsite promoted fee for sells. And not everyone that sells international is from offsite promoted. But it's just another little extra $150 that helps you get those items out there to more eyes. I think that's going to wrap that one up on that part for the offsite promoted. And those, there are other videos out there. My channel is not really about explaining all the little options and nuances and idiosyncrasies. Another sale, and all the other little things that would make of people who have a lot of questions. There's other channels out there that delve more, and pick who you're listening to wisely. Listen to people that have been selling for like at least 10 years, that maintain a really good feedback, that have a good energy. That's just my words of wisdom to anyone who wants to learn about these little smaller things that are out there that should help your eBay endeavor. All right, it is a sales video. Let's find out what these are. And that last sale wasn't really, Windows XP. All right, well, that's right here. All right. So this one right here, it's $20. It's actually 1977. So if you're new here, I round up or round down. Usually around at that 50-point mark. Makes sense. And I do free shipping on everything except the auctions. And I only run a handful of auctions a year. 1977. Neil Diamond DVD. Got this at the miscellaneous barn. I think it was $1. $30. Chem Intimacy Deluxe Edition. Just got this. Listed it last week. $19. Pride and Perseverance. Obviously, X Library. $15. Soraya CD. $15. Danielle Dax CD. $14. Crosby and Nash, $17. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young sing the song "For Dead in Ohio," which was an homage to May 4th, 1970 at Kent State University, alma mater, where I was born and raised. Marvin Gaye, what's going on? They're very specific. This is, and as I went to looking at more, trying to identify what it is, this is a press review. So that's why I couldn't find anything specifically on it. So I bumped the price up because I typed in PBS press review. Press review for purpose, for review purpose. Typed in PBS review and things like that in order to see that. So the review ones tend to go for a little more because they're obviously much rarer. So I got $42 for something that otherwise would have only been like 25. Salty Secret, another Thomas that I just got, maybe listed within a couple of weeks. 30. And then these two here. So if you've been here for a while, at the end of December, I went to a store in the Garfield Heights area that I dubbed as the Long Lost Store. And why I called it that is because it was a store that I had gone into one time, and they had a couple big of the metal bins, the huge caged bins that hold like the huge liquid vats. And I couldn't find the store for like 3 years because I was still thinking that it was in Parma. And then after I start getting the more and more media, I was like, I want to go back there. And I went in there, and he's like, hey, I'm closing. My last date is tomorrow. Oh, okay. So I got as much as I could that day, went back the next day, or I sorted what I could. And I went back the next day and sorted a bunch more. I do have a few videos. I'll probably drop one up here. And these are a couple of things that I got from there. Now, these stayed either right beside or in my books box. Books box is maybe that wide. All right, it's just like that. And I just put books like this. And then sideways. And usually that fills up with anywhere from 20 to 30 books, and then I get pictures of the books. That keeps me on that structure to where I'm not ending up with 100 books and then I have to get to those. I'm just listing 20 to 30 at a time. So these sat right there. And then eventually, sometime a couple weekends ago, I'm like, I think it was like one of those days it was 100 degrees outside or whichever. It's like, I just need other stuff I have around here. What can I get and open up, get some pictures of and list? These are two of them. So this one on its own is like $15. This one, like a couple have sold. So anyone working on, strangely enough, because that's for Windows 95, 98 NT and 4.0. So if you have this, I don't think this will work on it. Well, it should. I don't know. Not my problem anymore. All right, but I got $22 for them, for stuff that was just sitting around that I probably paid $1 for combined. So that is 234 in sales, 223 product costs received for 10 sales. Not too bad. It's still paying the bills. Cars dropped off, getting detail. That'll be done later on today. Wife and I are going to go run up to the VUA. They have their 50% off day. Isn't really what I'm looking for, but you could probably still try to find me a couple more t-shirts. See what's there. Stop at the Savers there. Turn around, head back, and do that. Yep, let's go wrap that one up. So, you like what you heard, what you saw, like what you learned. Well, learn a little bit about the international shipping program and the offsite promoted. Use what I say in regards to that as kind of a template, and you can kind of figure out the rest. I don't want to be one of those, here's my professional opinion about what this is and what it means and what it does. I have my own take on it, what I think it is and what it does, and it is very ambiguous. It's basically anything. This channel is primarily about this. This is the stuff that I buy. This is why I buy it. This is what I look for when I'm out there. This is what's sold, and I may give a few little anecdotes here and there about different things that I do or my understanding. So if you want to learn more about some of the different beyond the basic eBay, take a picture, list it accurately with your title, description, picture in the right category, anything way more above and beyond that, I can answer questions, but I don't want to opine much on it and get it wrong and then have people come back like, you said it that way. I will try to give a basic or a consensus or a succinct way on how I think about it. But there are plenty of other channels out there of people that will give a much more detailed, bullet pointed explanation of things. So for a seller, you should be automatically opted in to the international shipping program. Should be. And where you go on your web page, your eBay page to find out where you got to go for that, probably under shipping preferences. So that would be under where your avatar is, under account settings, and then go to that page. And then there's going to be a handful of different ones. Where it is, I don't know. And the offsite promoted, but the only thing I can really say more specifically is go to your advertising campaigns, create new campaign offsite, choose your rules, which there aren't many to choose from, choose your daily amount, hit start. Well, choose an end date, but just run it indefinitely. That's up to you when you want to end it. All right. Thumby thingy, comment down below, subscribe, share. They all help. Appreciate it. Thank you.